She's gone from being a vilified royal mistress to the woman who will now shape the future of the monarchy. Camilla Parker B.S. has come a long way in the eyes of her nation and the world. King Charles has started to pass the throne to Prince William. The first change is that Queen Camilla has lost her royal title. As Catherine rises, Camilla takes a step back. What happened inside the palace? The truth is more dramatic than anyone expected. The royal shock, a throne transfer like no other. When King Charles, who is nearly 77, passes the throne to Prince William, it will create a massive change in the royal family that no one expected. This shift is not just a simple handover from father to son. It will fundamentally alter the monarchy and how people feel about it. In an instant, William will go from next in line to the ruler. The saying "the crown never dies" will take on a new meaning. This is the first time in over 70 years that such a switch has happened, and it changes everything. But here's something people aren't talking about. Every title that belongs to Charles is now up for review, and Camilla's role is uncertain. Her title of queen relies on Charles's reign. Once William takes over, her status becomes unclear. People close to the situation say lawyers are already reviewing the details of her titles. The tension is real. Will she keep the title of Her Majesty, or will she become Dogger Queen? Her public image suddenly seems less bright within the palace. Opinions are divided. Some see this as Charles's loving gift to William, helping to create a monarchy that connects better with the public. But Camilla's supporters view this as a harsh blow after over 50 years of being in the spotlight through the ups and downs. One insider hinted at the consequences of this change, remarking, "Every crown's got its tab," suggesting that every royal decision comes with costs. Supporters of William and Kate celebrate this new era, viewing them as the people's royals taking charge. Meanwhile, Camilla's team prepares for the challenges ahead as the focus shifts in the royal family. The big question is, what will happen to the woman who went from very unpopular to queen consort? Her title now becomes a point of interest and uncertainty. What is Camilla's title today and why it matters? Before the recent handover discussions, Queen Camilla held the title Queen Consort of the United Kingdom after Charles became king in September 2022. However, the original plan was different. When they married in 2005, the palace announced she would be called Princess Consort. This was meant to help ease feelings after Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997. But by the coronation in May 2023, that title was gone. She was called Queen Camilla. Royal historian Hugo Vickers explained that according to British law, a king's wife automatically becomes queen without any extra steps. He noted it's not some big promotion, just how it is. However, many people are not comfortable with this change. A 2024 YouGov poll showed that nearly 40% of Brits preferred the consort title, thinking that dropping it ignores the past, especially Diana's legacy. Others support Camilla, viewing her as a loyal partner who stood by Charles during difficult times. With Charles planning to pass the throne to William, Camilla's title becomes uncertain. It isn't hers by right. It depends on Charles's role. Once William becomes king, her title could disappear. A BBC royal expert remarked that her status would change to less significant. This could change the family hierarchy, with William and Kate taking center stage. Camilla's title and influence could face reassessment. When William becomes king, questions arise about her new role, title, and place within the royal family. These details show how one title change can affect the royal family. The scenario: William becomes king. What changes? Prince William's becoming king will be a significant shift for the monarchy. Everything from Charles's reign will change, and Queen Camilla will feel the impact first. Once he leaves the throne, whether he abdicates or steps down, her queen consort title will disappear. That title is tied to his role. She cannot keep it without him as king. Experts agree that she will officially become a queen dowager, the term for a king's widow or former consort. However, Camilla is not like the queen mom, who was Diana, William's birthmother. Diana's influence is still strong, creating a challenge for the palace. While tradition has its rules, the public sees things differently. Insiders told the list that William wants to streamline the monarchy. He is focused on a smaller royal family and does not plan for his stepmom to share the spotlight with Kate. Once William is king, Kate will suddenly become Queen Catherine, taking on all the royal duties. Camilla may step back, taking on fewer public roles. This change is not just about titles. It's about who gets attention and respect. Once Camilla is no longer a consort, the palace will decide whether to call her Her Majesty, the Queen Dowager, or entirely drop the Queen title. They might revert her to her previous title of Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall. These decisions will shape history and headlines. The term stripped raises strong feelings. While Camilla will not lose her position entirely, her influence and visibility will significantly decrease. This leads to an important question. When we say she is stripped of her title, are we discussing just the legal aspects, or are we also considering the emotional impact? Why stripped of is misleading but useful for drama. Some people might see the phrase stripped of her title for Queen Camilla as exciting gossip. It hints at drama, revenge, and payback, but the real situation is more complicated and part of a careful plan. Under British common law, you automatically become queen consort when you marry a king. There's no need for formal paperwork. It happens as part of the marriage and monarchy, so when Charles leaves the throne, her title won't be taken away suddenly. It will naturally end when he steps down. This is just following the rules without any dramatic legal battles. Still, stripped makes for sensational headlines, and the palace knows that better than anyone. They understand how this narrative plays out. Camilla's status diminishing as William rises. It will appear as a downgrade no matter how they present it. History is filled with these subtle power shifts. Remember Wallis Simpson's marriage to Edward Roman VII after his abdication in 1936. She lost the Her Royal Highness title, the wife of an ex-king, but with no grand farewell. No island exile for Camilla, but the situation has an eerily similar vibe. A gentle fade out to maintain peace. Rumor has it that William's team might avoid the title Queen Dowager altogether. It sounds too clumsy, too much like yesterday's news. They could go with Camilla or revert to Duchess of Cornwall like before 2022. It's all about the tone, one royal observer aptly noted. Additionally, a palace insider leaked to the Telegraph in 2023. They'll ease it in, but it will stick. This avoids legal complications while delivering an emotional impact. It signals that the chapter on Camilla is closing and the spotlight is turning to Queen Catherine, someone many in Britain already view as the real deal, channeling some of Diana's essence into what comes next. No royal decree stripping away the title. That's fine. Exclude her from speeches, walkabouts, and glossy programs and watch the stripping happen anyway. Exclusion is the quiet killer here. It's the royal maneuver, subtle, sharp, and straight from the history books. So, how does the firm actually change or remove a title? We're talking about letters, patent, outdated protocols, and a select few who can rewrite a queen's title with just a pen flick. The legal mechanisms behind removing or altering titles. In the royal system, nothing is left to chance, especially regarding the titles given to individuals. Each shift in title from Duchess to Queen to the often overlooked Dowager is processed through an ancient and intricate system with more rules than a complicated board game. So when Camilla's title inevitably changes, it will not be a spontaneous reaction or a decision influenced by public opinion. Instead, it will be dictated by established laws, cold and calculated. The key components of this system are letters patent, official documents issued by the reigning monarch that clearly outline who is entitled to which titles and privileges when those titles are granted and the reasons behind them. Think of these documents as updates to the Crown's rule book. For example, in 1917, George V issued a letter patent to limit the use of the titles Prince and Princess to the children and grandchildren of the monarch. Fast forward to 2012, and Queen Elizabeth Roman II issued another letter patent ensuring that all of William and Kate's children would receive the full prince and princess titles without any conditions. So when William ascends to the throne, he could issue his own letter patent, potentially altering Camilla's title or even removing the queen title altogether. It's as simple as signing the document, applying the royal seal, and making it official through the London Gazette. The Privy Council would likely be consulted, but their approval isn't always necessary. Parliament can also intervene in certain exceptional cases, as seen in 1936, when Edward Roman VII stepped down and became the plain Duke of Windsor, losing all his royal powers. This historical context serves as a reminder that while the king ultimately drives these decisions, checks and balances are in place. However, William doesn't necessarily need to make a grand announcement to change Camilla's title. He could stop using it in public conversations and official events, thus allowing the media to pick up on the shift. Over time, the public would likely accept this subtle change, which is informally called soft removal. This strategy was employed with Diana after her separation from Charles. She was referred to as Diana, Princess of Wales, but lost the HR designation without any public spectacle. There are limits, of course. Certain honors and decorations remain for life unless seriously mismanaged. However, titles associated with a consort are inherently tied to the reigning monarch. Without that connection, the title ceases to have any value. Every title begins and ends with the crown, explains constitutional expert Dr. Bob Morris from UCL. Camilla's next title is entirely up to William, and it's uncertain whether he will keep her in a prominent position. So, what will her new title be? It's more than just a name. It directly impacts her legacy. This brings us to the difficult question at hand. Camilla's possible titles after the transition. Once Charles steps down from the throne, Camilla will get a new title, but she has limited options. Most experts believe Queen Dowager will be the likely choice. It sounds elegant and historically significant, but means former queen. Camilla won't be in the spotlight much, just a minor figure in the royal family. Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, had a similar title after George VI died, but that comparison stops there. Camilla is William's stepmother, not his mother, and that difference is significant. The title Queen Mother isn't an option for her since it suggests warmth and legacy. Instead, she might be called a Dowager Queen Camilla, a traditional title that hints at a bygone era, signaling that her time has passed. Insiders think this title will be used in official documents and invitations, but it will be skipped in daily conversations to avoid clashing with Queen Catherine's rise. Another option is to return to Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, which she held before 2022. This title is straightforward and carries no drama, similar to how Wallis Simpson was called the Duchess of Windsor without any royal perks for being Edward's wife. It keeps things classy and simple. They might also use titles like Her Majesty Camilla Dowager in formal papers or invitations. However, they could leave out Her Majesty to avoid the confusion of having two queens, especially since Kate is expected to shine on the throne. The most radical option, Camilla could step back without a title, just family gatherings and quiet times. While this may seem extreme, it fits William's idea of a more streamlined monarchy, focusing on a close, knit core rather than adding more public figures. Titles change, it's all about how you handle them. A palace insider told The Telegraph in 2023. In this case, Camilla's new title won't just be for show. It will help define her role in the future. What will Camilla's role be? Will she continue public appearances or fade into the background? Her role post-transition from center stage to supporting act. As Camilla's title starts to fade, her role will likely change too. Once King Charles steps down, her public tasks and appearances will be reviewed. What used to include wearing tiaras and receiving top attention may soon become more low-key with quieter involvement. Royal experts agree that Camilla will step back from many public engagements when Prince William becomes king. She might still attend important family events like weddings and memorials, but she won't be seen alongside the king as often. One expert noted that her role as consort will change significantly now that she is no longer officially the queen consort. She supports over 100 charities, focusing on issues like domestic abuse awareness and encouraging children's reading. However, sources suggest that Kate will likely take on many of those responsibilities as queen consort with younger family members like Princess Charlotte and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, also stepping in to help. There are questions about where Camilla will live. Will she remain at Clarence House or move to a different location? Much of her current situation depends on her role as queen consort. If she loses that title, she could lose some of her perks. There are even rumors she